Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mr. BuildWealth. I'm back at it again, and I'm here to share information and resources that can help you get started with building wealth. Before I get started, as always, I want to make sure I punch in my website. So, in case you want to check out the Build Wealth movement, what I've got cooking, blogs, videos, maybe you're ready to get started with your journey. Maybe you need to enhance your journey. Hit me up. I want to help in whatever way that I can. But just check out the website and let me know how I can be of service to you. So the title for this session is Why You Sitting in Cash? All right, so I have had a conversation with a couple people in the last week. One story is the guy has an account, and it's an investment account. But he has an investment account, but he's sitting in cash. Means he's not in the game, coach. That means he's sitting on the bench watching the game being played. He's just sitting on the sideline drinking Gatorade. So why I wanted to come talk about this story is he said that he doesn't necessarily need the money, but he won't invest it. It's not registering in my brain why you would sit in cash and then say to me, I want to do some more investing. And so that's how the conversation got started. So I gave him a challenge. He's not a client of mine. All I said was, I think you should invest that money because the money had been sitting or still sitting in cash or has been sitting in cash for about 6 months, maybe even longer. So when I was talking about why, I always ask a lot of good questions before I make my recommendation. And I said, why are you sitting in cash? And he was like, well, wasn't really sure about what I should be doing. I was reading this article, that article. I watched this documentary, then the whole GameStop and Bitcoin. And he's all over the place. And again, this is why I tell people you need an advisor. You need a planner. You need to work with somebody because you sometimes will not be able to make a decision that's in your best interest. So he's been waiting for the last 6 months. And so I said, look, man, we can't go back in time, but you've missed some pretty good shit. Like the market's been doing its thing. I've been making money. Everybody who's invested is making money. And you sitting on the sideline. So I said, how long is it going to take you to make a decision? He was like, well, I don't know. And I said, look, I'll make you a deal. I'm just going to email you in 2 weeks. And I just want to see if you'll make a decision, because if not, I'm not hurt. You're just hurting yourself by your inability to make a decision. So I got the email response yesterday. He has not placed a trade of any sort. And his excuse was, oh, the fund I was looking at, I'm not really sure. I'm looking at the 52-week highs and lows and the performance. And I want to kind of jump through the computer and just strangle him. Dude, this is why you never gonna be wealthy. It's this mindset of I'm waiting for the perfect time to get invested. He just missed, yesterday in the market was pretty daggone good. Pretty doggone good. I made a few thousand in the market yesterday and I did nothing but wake up and went through my day. And that's exactly what I said in my email response to him was, dude, it's been 2 weeks since we spoke, and it's been more than 6 months since you've been sitting in cash. I left it like this. I said, look, if you don't do this, you're only hurting yourself. And I'm not going to sit here and try to persuade you. I'm not even getting paid to help this dude. I just said, look, man, I'm just tired of seeing us wait because I can't figure out what we're waiting for. So if you're sitting in cash, I need you to invest that money. Unless this is cash in a savings account and you need the savings for an emergency fund, or maybe you're going to get a car, maybe you're about to buy a house, maybe you have some big ticket item that you're about to purchase. So you're sitting in cash for that reason. And that's okay if you have that kind of cash in a savings account, in your mattress, in a shoebox, whatever. But he's sitting in cash. And this is a pitfall that I run into a lot of people. They'll say they have an investment account with pick your favorite investment firm or brokerage account or app. They'll say they have an account. And then when I say, how's it doing? They're like, it's not performing that well. And I'm like, Are you sitting in cash? Because cash is making next to nothing. So why don't you invest this money? And so I'm finding this more times than I would like. But this is why I do what I'm trying to tell you, you're an idiot for just sitting in cash. Again, unless you have some big ticket item that you are about to purchase, unless you are extremely risk averse, meaning you are afraid to make money, then yes, stay in cash all day long and keep getting disappointed with the returns that you're receiving. That's what you're going to do. Now, I think in every portfolio, you should have a little bit of cash because maybe you don't want to place a trade for everything that you're doing. And so that's okay to have a little bit in cash, but knowing that you're going to decision it at some point in the meantime, like relatively quickly. Like you're doing just enough research to say, I feel good, and then boom, you execute. But this guy's sitting in cash, and I don't really care what he does now. Like, it's on you, dude. Like, you're not my client. You ain't paying me, so I don't want to say pieces out, deuces to him, but it's like, yo, you making me try to, this is like the people I don't want to work with. Like, I want to work with people who will take what I say to heart and then execute. Talk to a wealthy person or talk to I'll say a business savvy person. Because there are people who work jobs who are business savvy, who are incredible investors, because they understand that you have to execute. Waiting doesn't necessarily help you. Yes, waiting in some regards can help when you're trying to figure things out. But at some point, I think you've gotten enough information to understand that you got to make a decision. And the reason I think so many of us are afraid to kind of jump into the market at some point is because we just think too much. So we sit in cash and make nothing and complain about performance. And then we, just life keeps happening. You're like, I ain't make no money. And meanwhile, everybody else made money. So, what do you think you should do to change this reality? So one of the things you can do is you pick a dollar amount, and this dollar amount needs to be unique to you. There's no silver lining in terms of how much, because when people say, well, Joshua, what do you do? I throw out big numbers just to scare the hell out of you. So if your budget's only going to allow you to put away like 500 or 1,000, start there. There's no secret sauce to how you get in. There are investing apps that allow you to do a lot smaller dollar amounts. And so you want to be thinking about those. And maybe that's how you kind of get comfortable with investing. So instead of sitting in cash, how about you add, $25 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month. And maybe you slowly get some of that cash into the actual market where it can go up and down and actually try to make you money. Because even with the downside, it gets better over time. So the other scenario is, okay, I have these investment accounts and they're sitting in cash and people aren't executing. And then the other one, which I kind of mentioned, is performance. So when I onboard a new client, I like looking through all of their different accounts just to kind of get a sense of where they are and what they're doing. And what I find is when they say my account isn't performing, I got to kind of check to make sure, like, what's in it. And I run into this quite frequently where it always comes up where they have like an IRA. And there's a difference between like a brokerage IRA and like an IRA at your bank or your credit union. Big difference. And so what I find is that the people who have these IRAs, because they are IRAs and they have the same rules as like how the government states that they have to have like certain parameters and features and all that kind of stuff. They're the same in that sense. But a bank or your IRA at the credit union is like a savings account with a wrapper that says IRA. So technically it's an IRA, but it's a savings account that has a retirement wrapper. Now the brokerage IRA, that's money that you can put into the market. Big difference. So I had a conversation this morning actually with a couple, and they were trying to decide whether to consolidate some things or move some money around in one of their other accounts. And they were like, the IRA isn't performing. And I was like, how is it invested? And that's when it clicked. It's not. It was at their bank, sitting in a bank account with the IRA wrapper. So they too were just sitting in cash, and they were mad about the performance. And I said, do you realize that you essentially have had a savings account with this IRA wrapper, but you never thought to kind of reach out to ask somebody at the bank, like, what are my options? What are my alternatives? And they didn't. And they kind of laughed and they were like, it was that easy. I was like, yeah. All you had to do is ask a few more questions about, one, why is it not performing? And two, what other options do I have? So I know this right now, that a lot of people are just sitting in cash and it's doing nothing for them. I think, again, when you have enough cash to cover your emergency fund, or maybe you're saving for a big ticket purchase, I think it's okay to sit in cash in those scenarios. But if not, the rest of it's got to be invested. Because if not, you're just going to spend it anyway. So let's just call it what it is. You're sitting in cash for this safety and security and type of feeling. But when I talk to people, they want their money to work for them. You work so damn hard. Why is your money not working hard for you? That's the question you want to ask yourself. That's the question that I ask everybody. Well, I'm too afraid to invest. Well, I guess you're too afraid to make money. So keep sitting on the sideline and not being in the game. Look, I'm a baseball guy. So if I want to hit a home run, I have to walk up to the plate and take a swing. And I may strike out. I may ground out. I may hit a single, a double, a triple. But my goal is to hit a home run. But if I never step up to the plate, I will never have the opportunity to even get close to hitting a home run. So if you are sitting in cash and you have no good reason as to why you're sitting in cash, I need that money to be invested. So that's what I do. I'm going to help get you to the promised land by just making a decision around investing the money in something. So if you're, this person who just can't make that decision, hit me up. Hit me up. Maybe it's just a 15-minute phone call. That's it. Hit the link in my bio, schedule 15 minutes, and let's rock out and get you in the market. Because every day you keep waiting is another day you're telling me that you're not trying to be wealthy. That's what my brain says. You don't want to be wealthy if you're not investing. If you're too afraid, good. That means you're afraid of making money. That means you are afraid of being successful. That means you are afraid of disrupting generational poverty, which means you're going to perpetuate this cycle of never doing it. There's no secret why some people and families just never figure it out, because they're too afraid to get in the game. We're sitting in cash. We're scared. We're afraid. We're just not willing to take that step. What's the alternative? I stay in my situation. I don't become wealthy. I don't get rich. I don't do anything that's going to change the outlook in my life, my family's life, future generations' life. It is one of these things that it scares me to know that people won't do something different. So if I can be of service to you, you let me know. I just want to have a conversation. I don't promise anything, but being honest with you about your situation. That's the one thing I'll promise you. I will be honest. I will not waste your time, because time is, the precious commodity. We all got the same amount of time, but some of us can seem to just figure it out and execute and make decisions. And we go back to living our lives. And so we do these check-ins to make sure that we know what our money is doing. We know that it is doing what we want it to do. And if it's not, you change it. That's it. You just change it. So last thing before I close out, I want to let you all know that I share these stories on this Instagram TV, but I have been sharing my diary entries on YouTube. So they're called my BuildWealth observations. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. They're just a few minutes long. I don't think any of them's over like 3 minutes, but just listen to some of the stories and see if you can relate. And if you can relate, like share it with somebody else. Like, look, this is you. Or when you hear the story, you can be like, I know somebody. And if it's not you, again, it's probably a family member, a spouse, it's somebody close to you. It's a coworker. Like we all seem to have kind of the same few issues when it comes to financial planning. I'm going to keep doing my part to help us push through by sharing these stories, this BuildWealth observation stuff I got on YouTube. Check those out, because these stories, they're the same. Like year in and year out, I'm hearing the same type of, here's why I can't do X. And I'm like, And I just make a little note. And what I'm finding is that people don't know where to go. They don't have a team of advisors around them giving them good advice and good guidance. And I think we're only doing ourselves a disservice by not taking care of our financial houses. And one of the biggest things that I see is that we can't keep waiting. Like, let's stop waiting for this perfect day, for the sun to shine, to the wind to blow at a certain certain rate. Like, we just got to stop waiting, because you're only hurting yourself by continuing to wait and not executing. And if you wait in life, you're going to keep losing too. So if you're in your job and you're not taking no risk and you're sitting on the sidelines, that's just like you sitting in cash. You're not trying to get promoted. You're not trying to get the better assignments at your job. Like, you're just not trying. You're never going to be the manager. You're never going to run the place. So I like to give these kind of examples where your money sitting on the sidelines is just like you going to your job and just working every day and not talking to your coworkers, not reaching out to leadership. It's the same dynamic. Don't say nothing at your job and sit on the sidelines, and you're going to have a miserable life. You're going to collect your check, get you a little bit of benefits, a little bit of time off, and that's going to be your life, because you're sitting on the sideline versus the person who comes in, does their job, reaches out, does all the social stuff that the job requires. Like, they're in the game. And that's just like your cash. Your cash is just going to sit there and do nothing and perform poorly. It's going to be there. The one thing you can hang your hat on, that the money's going to be there. But 10 years from now, if you are still having the same type of financial struggles that you had a decade ago, I don't think you figured out this thing called life. But maybe that's the life you want to lead. And if that's true, you're probably not my client anyway. So I'm just trying to work with people who get it. I just want to work with people who want to get in the game. So if I can be of service and help you to get in the game, let me know, because I'm not going to stop trying to do my part to change the livelihood of all these people and families that I interact with. Again, my mission is to disrupt generational poverty, and I will not be denied. So I will catch you all next time.